your spells backfiring? Unleash the secrets of potent witchcraft to manifest a life of wonders. Merry meet everyone, I'm Witch Hazel, and today we're going to chat about what to do if your spells backfire. We're going to start by defining what a backfiring spell is, and then we're going to review some witchcraft essentials necessary to get back on track. Okay, so first, what is a spell backfire? Well, technically speaking, it's when you cast a spell and the energies come back to you in a negative way. I also include in this category of backfires when a spell is cast and just doesn't appear to work. There was no movement. You can't see any sign that your work made a difference. So let's address the first problem. When energies come back to you in a negative way. An example of this would be if you have an issue with a coworker at your job. You decide to cast a spell to get this coworker out of your space so you don't have to deal with them. If the result is either your work scenario getting worse to the point that you are forced out, or something bad like an accident happening to the coworker, this is a backfire. Side note on this, I know there are schools of thought out there that say you can't create bad situations for others. I find this information interesting and valid. However, I haven't made up my mind yet on the extent of my beliefs on the topic. So, if you want me to explore this theme in more detail, please let me know in the comments. For right now, I'm going to stick with the information that I was taught when I entered witchcraft, as well as my personal experience. So these kinds of scenarios usually play out when we cast a spell or send out an intention which is not for the good of everyone involved. In the work scenario, there's very likely some sort of resentment or bad blood between you and this coworker that you're having issues with. If you go into your spell with that kind of energy, even if you rationally convince yourself that you are casting a harmless spell, the negative energy is going to seep in. This opens us up to karma, or what we like to call it in the witchy world, the law of three. Whatever we send out comes back to us amplified threefold. This is why it's massively important to conduct all ritual and spell work from the right state of mind. I'm going to go into detail on this in just a minute when I start in on those witchcraft essentials. But first, let's look at the milder version of a backfire, the dud. So these are the spells that leave us wondering if witchcraft even works, because we went through all the motions and as far as we can tell, nothing happened. We cast that spell for the promotion at work or the passing grade. Yeah, we got passed over or we failed. We cast the spell for that date for Valentine's and ended up sitting at home on the couch with a tub of ice cream. So no negative result came from these spells, meaning nothing worse than had we not cast the spell, but we also didn't get what we wanted, and now we feel as though we wasted our time. The reason for this is similar to the first scenario, in that it was the energy that was off. But this time, instead of sending out the wrong energy, we didn't send out any energy at all. Okay, so this is where I know everyone is going to start arguing with me. Yes, I did. I had strong intent. I visualized. I felt the success of the spell on a deep emotional level. It should have worked. Not necessarily. While there is a chance that you did everything right and the energy got sent out into the universe and just kind of dissipated, I will argue that it is more likely there was a block or a disconnect somewhere. Here's why. If everything went to plan, you would have gotten what you wanted. I am not personally of the belief that things are not meant to be, or that something, sometimes there's extended time involved. I ascribe to the idea of instant manifestation. Why? Because it is backed up by every spiritual thinker in print. If you have mastered the process, the result is instant. The worst case scenario is that you get what you want and it ends up playing out in a way you don't like. It's a case of be careful what you wish for, right? So you can disagree with me on this point, and that's perfectly fine, but this is the belief system that I work with. So, if the spell didn't work, an essential ingredient was missing. And this should be easy to figure out because there are only 3 ingredients to success in your spells. First, your intent, which corresponds to what I've been describing in previous videos as your intuition or your connection to the divine. Second, your belief, which is the channeling that divine energy through you out into the world. And lastly, your expectation, meaning your definitive knowledge that the work is done. These are the 3 secrets to powerful magic and manifesting your life of wonder. So let's take a deeper look at each of them. Quick reminder before we do, keep in mind that in order to set your spells headed in the right direction, you need to know your own direction in life. If you aren't clear on your life path and how you're going to organize your spiritual practice around it, I highly recommend picking up my life path resources, which are linked below, and starting there. Once you do that, or if you know your path but are still coming up against manifesting struggles, make sure to subscribe to the channel and click the little notification bell, because I'm planning to make some new resources available to you next month that will help you to improve on these elements of spell casting and essentially strengthening your manifesting game overall. So you're not going to want to miss that. All right, where were we? Back to the topic at hand. Intent. So this is something that has to be crystal clear if we want our spells to work. What do we want? What end result? I've sometimes seen this point defined as desire. So what desire do you want fulfilled? Use whichever word is more meaningful to you. But the point is the same in either case. We must be clear on what we want. So if I need money to pay the rent, that's very specific, right? I'm not going to vaguely ask for more money in my account. I'm going to say I have X amount in the bank to pay the rent. pay attention to that wording. We're going to come back to it as we move through these videos. Also, in case it's not clear how I'm connecting intent with intuition, it's the idea that all desires in life come from intuition. They are divine seeds kind of planted in us to help us fulfill our life path. If you want me to speak more on that, again, please let me know in the comments. So does this mean that you can't cast a spell for something more general, like, I have more happiness in my life? No, but can you see the difficulty with that request? How will you know if it worked? What does happiness look like in your life? I guarantee you've got unvoiced expectations with that one. You're going to say, I'll know when I feel more happy. But in reality, all sorts of small happy things could happen in our lives every day, all day, and we will ignore them, all of them, if a specific event that we want to happen doesn't. So save yourself the disappointment and cast a spell for something specific instead. So next we need belief, and I'm not talking about blind faith here. We just need to believe that the thing we are trying to manifest can actually happen. This is the part where we take that divine inspiration from the spiritual realm and we make it real in this material world through our actions. Don't let preconceived notions block you on this. I see this all the time with my writing work. For anyone who didn't know, I write historical romances under a pen name, and frequently, well, not frequently, but sometimes readers will comment in a review that would never have happened in that era, and they denounce the book as subpar because of that. Well, I'm not concerned with what would or would not have actually happened in that era because the whole story didn't take place. My concern is it possible? Is it feasible? If it is, I've got enough to build a story around, and the same thing goes for spell work and manifesting. If you want to cast a spell for winning the lottery, it's not your job to fuss over whether or not that outcome would happen based on whatever current notions and ideas you have. The point of belief is knowing it's a possibility. Did you buy a ticket? Okay, then you winning the lotto could happen. It's feasible. And casting a spell can't do anything but increase your odds, really. So roll with it. Lastly, we need to expect that our work will be effective. This is that dramatic, so mote it be moment of spellcasting. It's the amen. And yet, for as second nature as the words are, this is undoubtedly the most difficult part of the manifesting process. I might want something to happen. I might believe it's possible. But if I allow my life experience or lack of confidence to convince me it's not going to happen, then it won't. My expectation of failure is going to cut off the current of divine energy that I've built up successfully to this point, and the whole process is going to fizzle or to backfire. So how do we get around this issue and start using this kind of 3-step formula for more accurately consistent success in creating our best, most wonderful life? We fine-tune the 2 areas that are the most important. our intuition, and our expectations. The belief part, the energy channeling, really isn't an issue for most people, I don't think. It's actually the easiest to wrap our heads around, oddly enough. You wouldn't think so. So in order to improve our intuition, we have to know what our starting point is, how strong our intuitive abilities are to begin with, and where our weaknesses are. This isn't always a straightforward thing. Those limiting beliefs and false expectations tend to muddy things up where our understanding of intuition is concerned. So, in upcoming videos, as I begin to introduce those new resources I mentioned, I'm going to be looking more at exercises to help strengthen both our ability to connect to the divine through intuition and learning how to expect the outcomes we really want. For right now, I suggest beginning with some journaling, or at least some deep thought on these themes. What spell work or manifesting have you done recently which didn't go the way you wanted? Were you clear on your intent? Can you single out any limiting beliefs or expectations of failure that might have contributed to things not going as intended? What ideas do you have for improving these issues in the future? Getting started with these type of questions will give you a better idea of where you stand and what might be causing your backfires. Once you have some thoughts on this, then you can begin to create a game plan for fixing it. And don't worry, I'm not going to leave you in the lurch on that front. I'm still in the midst of reviewing what I did to improve my spell work, to make things clear for you when I explain it. This is another big reason why I advocate journaling. It's much easier to review things when you have a record of them. So remember to always keep notes on the spells you cast. Anyway, I am looking forward to your thoughts and commentary, and those will be of great help and great addition in the conversation when I start to post the follow-up videos. Until then, I wish you great success in your craft and your spiritual journey. Blessed be everyone.